That is why the question is, how can we be safe during collisions? Okay, according to the results of the crash test, these are the results sa experiments sa car test. Head acceleration of 150 G. Anong ibig sabihin nito? That's 150 times the acceleration due to gravity. So that's 150 times 9.8, and that is equivalent to 1,500 meters per second squared. If our head is accelerated at 1,500 meters per second squared, it could be very fatal 50% of the time. Nakuha? So kapag mayroong acceleration na 1,500 meters per second per second squared sa ating head, it is fatal 50% of the time. Plus a force of about 90 kilonewton. What's 90 kilonewton? That's 90,000 newtons. Good? 90,000 newtons. Kilo means 1,000. Compressing the tibia. Saan dito yung tibia? Ito, this is the tibia, yung sa legs. Kita ka na sa tiil na to, dari kaning dako kay nga bukog dito yung tiil niya. Kana diha. That's the tibia. So if that tibia will be compressed to a force of 90,000 newtons, that tibia will be fractured. So for example, dito during the crash test, this is 176,000 newtons. So ibig sabihin, it will cause fractures. Do you follow? Sa tibia. Naku ha, 90,000 lang kayo na, maka-fracture na how much more? 176,000 newtons. Klaro? Ayan, so let us try to analyze sa common situations, common scenario sa collision. Consider a typical collision involving a 75 kilogram passenger. So that means meron tayong passenger, the mass of the passenger is 75 kilograms, not wearing seatbelt, traveling at a speed of 100 kilometers per hour. So the initial velocity, because it is already traveling, imagine na nasa car, ikaw yan, nasa loob ng car, traveling at 100 kilometers per hour, napakabilis ng takbo. That's 28 meters per second in standard unit. Who comes to rest? Kasi nga may collision, so nag-stop yung car during collision. So final velocity is 0 meters per second and come to rest in 0.010 seconds. So that means the duration of impact is 0.010 seconds. Okay, so this is a common scenario, for example, during collision. Basically, mayroong car, drawing sa kong car. Diba? My car. And then there is a person inside that car not wearing a seatbelt. And this car is moving at 100 kilometers per hour. And then it collides. Nagkaroon ng collision, bumangga. So that means the final velocity is 0. And the duration of collision is 0.010 seconds. We can measure the mass. Malalaman natin yung mass. Itimbang lang ko, for example. The initial velocity, makikita natin yan sa speedometer. The final velocity is 0 kasi nga nag-collide. Nag-come to a rest after. And then the time of the duration of impact can be measured also. Good. So let us try to calculate the force. Ano nga yung equation sa impulse momentum? Force times time is equal to mvf minus mvi. So that means divide lang by t divided by t. So that means force is equal to mvf minus mvi over time. Yeah, that's the formula for force. Take note of that. Alam natin that the final velocity is 0, so this will be disregarded. 0 yan. Nakuha? So that means the force experienced is negative. Mass is 75 kilograms times the initial velocity, which is 28 meters per second, divided by the time The duration of impact, 0.010 seconds. And what will be the answer, anong tawag nito? What will be the answer?
Negative 210,000, sir.
Negative 210,000 Newton. Anong ibig sabihin ng negative force?
Going to the left po.
Okay, very good. It's going to the left. That's negative 210,000 Newton. So if you are just going to consider the magnitude, okay, so the force of impact is negative 210,000 Newton. So magnitude lang, that's 210,000. That is way beyond the minimum force that can cause fracture. So gaano na lang kalaki yung fracture, kalaki yung damage na makos niya. 90,000 nga lang makakos na siya ng fracture. How much more ang 210,000 newtons? So during that collision, that person not wearing seatbelt will experience a force of 210,000 newton. Napakataas ng force na yan. And that is way above the minimum force na makakos ng fracture. So delikado kayo. Ha? How about acceleration? How are we going to calculate for the acceleration? Alam natin ang formula ng acceleration. Acceleration is final velocity minus initial velocity over time. And that the final velocity is 0. So disregard. That means initial velocity is 28 meters per second divided by the time is 0.10 seconds. This gives us negative 2,800 meters per second squared. That's the unit of acceleration. So acceleration is negative 2,800 meters per second squared. And that is way beyond the acceleration of the head that could be fatal. So 1,500 nga lang, it is already fatal. How much more ang 2,800 meters per second squared na acceleration? Napakataas. So it is very dangerous. So napaka laki siguro ng injury na ma-feel ng passenger na ito in this scenario.